Good evening. We are actually live. And as of 10 minutes ago, I did a little test. So I'm hoping that it's going to work tonight. So let's just have a look. That's it, I did. Oh, I thought I deleted that. Never mind. Doesn't look as if I did. So with Trisha, let's just see. Oh, we're here now. We are live. So that is great. There's a few people coming on. Let me have a look. There's Elaine. Hello, Elaine. Right, about 10 minutes ago, I did a little test just to see if the enhanced voice option would work. As you know, a couple of times in the last few days, I've done that and then I have been muted. But in the test, it worked. Let's hope shortly that it will work again. Hello, Dorothy, and hello, Maria. So we are ready to complete the bag of the month, the Anthea bag. This is the one. So we have the slip pocket with a popper on the front, just to hold that closed. And then on the reverse, we have an external zipped pocket just there. We have handles that come from the top rather than the side, or rather than in the top here. And we don't have a pocket on the inside, but at the moment I got a little bit. Okay. So this is what we will be making. Part one was last night. Oh, it's just, oh, comments are coming up. Fantastic. Let's put that to the side a moment. All the ones I've just seen anyway. But yes, this is what I'm going to continue with and finish this evening. Hello, Jill. Hello, Tony. Hello, Catherine. So as I say, we'll wait a few moments for some more of you to come on. I did put a little post in the group saying apologies for last night's hiccups, and hopefully tonight we shall be fine. Now, I have put the PDF in the group already. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to get it to my proofreader, so hopefully everything's right. I know one thing I've forgotten, and that is I've forgotten to put exactly how much fabric you need. There are two templates. There's a template for the main outer back and front, and the template for the pocket. So there's 3 PDFs this month that you need to download. They are all in the files at the top of the page. So either download, print, or save them to somewhere else. Oh, comments have stopped coming now. Hello, Catherine. You've saved the PDFs. Jolly good. Hello, Leslie. I am keeping warm today. It is lovely. Hello, Pamela. Yes, so the PDFs are there. The only things I've missed out is how much fabric you need. And I would suggest that you, 1/2 metre of the outer fabric and 1/2 metre of lining. And I was just trying to think, wadding, I think you will get away with, if you said 1/2 metre, that's ample, but you get away with a 12-inch width of 36-inch wadding. Hello, Patricia. So if you're using Thermolam like I have, or your fusible fleece, they're both 36 inches wide, and you should be able to get the 3 templates out of there just about. Whereas with your normal fabrics, there will be a little left over, but 1/2 metre you need for the bigger pieces, for the lining, because we've actually got 4 pieces of lining. Fantastic, Elaine. Elaine's printed it, ready to start. It's your sort of bag. Jolly good. I'm glad you like. Hello, Nikki. Yes, we're all warm. Now, the other thing I did notice just before I came on, that somebody had asked if I could show how to put a slider on the strap so that we could... Hello, Beverly. Teeth chattering. Oh, dear, stick the heating on. Hello, Liz. Hello, Susan. Oh, slow internet. Oh, dear. Lovely, Raina. Well done. Hello, Jill. Yes, so I'm going to put a slider on this bag so that it's extendable. Okay. And it's so me. Is it you, Patricia? Hello, Barbara. And I missed somebody else there. Sandra. Hello to you both. Just started snowing, Jill, in Kent. Oh, my goodness. I got up this morning and thought it had snowed, and I thought I wasn't expecting that. But actually, it was just a very heavy frost. So we had no snow. Hello, Jill. Hello, Bev. I was just saying, Jill, I haven't had a chance because I didn't finish my instructions till quite late on, and I didn't want to send it to you then. So I have forgotten to put... Hello, Bridget. Hello, Lynn. I have forgotten to put how much fabric you need. So I've suggested 1/2 metre of outer, 1/2 metre of lining, 1/2 metre of wadding, but you will have bits left over. Hello, Hayes. And then a little bit of faux leather. You will need an 8-inch zip and a 10-inch zip. Hello, Sue. -7 there. Oh, I know, Jill. It was, if you listened to last night's, this was my third design that I intended to go on, and I only started it yesterday morning, so I can't send it over to you an hour before I need it. So, okay, so this is what we are going to make, or finish off. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to go through some of the basics, which a lot of you will already know. Hello, Barbara, Margaret. They said Barbara. So, the strap. We'll do the strap first, and let's just pop this. Oh, no. Let's see if I can have, enhanced voice done. Right. Can you hear me now? Can you still hear me? Can you comment? Hi, Sharon. It's awful with you, is it? Oh, dear. Hello, Jack. Oh, you got confused with all the Anthea videos. Oh, dear. No worries. No worries. Hello, Carolyn. So please tell me, let's just hope. Can you just send me some likes or loves just to say everything's okay? Yes, Liz, you can hear me. Loud and clear. Fantastic. Okay. Why it didn't work, I didn't touch anything wrong last night, I promise you. So that is fantastic. And you can hear me loud and clear. Fantastic. Right, I'm going to dip this down now. Hopefully that doesn't change what is going on. Lovely, Beverly can hear me too. Okay. So let's just go in just a little bit. Okay. So here is my strap. If you're going to have it as a crossbody and you want it to extend, I've used the whole width of fabric. So as usual, 4 inches wide. So there is my fabric. I have folded, I already pressed it, but I folded it in half like so and pressed. Then I opened it out and I then pressed one raw edge to that center crease and pressed it. Then I folded the other edge to the center and pressed it. And such a difference. Oh, good, 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 good. And then in half again and pressed it again. Now, when you press it, if you make sure these folded edges here line up perfectly, you'll get a really good bag strap. And it will be even the whole way down. Now, I always join, I'm going to sew down, top stitching down both long edges, and I always start with the open edge, so I always stitch down this one first. The reason being, if I stitch down here and the fabric moved, then my folded edges wouldn't line up properly. So if you always stitch this one, and then if you can see it's out of line, you can move it a little bit so it is perfectly aligned the whole way down. So stitch length, I'm going to pop up to a 3, a little bit longer, because I find I like the effect of how a longer stitch length works. And I'm just going to stitch the whole way down here. I could have gone 3.5. And if you can see my fingers, I'm actually I'm putting my fingers around the edges of the strap so that it can just feed through. You know, whether I put 1 or 2, but it's feeding under there. I'm allowing them, oops, it's decided it's not moving there. That's it. Okay, so I'm allowing that to feed through. The machine is just taking that through. And I am watching the edge of the foot so that that is working really, really nicely for me and giving me a beautiful straight row of stitching. Hopefully so anyway. So we will just work our way down to the bottom. And when we get to the bottom, I'm not going to cut the thread and start at the other side. What I always tend to do, we'll get to the bottom here, and then just before I reach the end, I'm just going to pivot, and I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to stitch across to the other side, get in just the right place to start again, and then I'm going to come back down the other side. So I can see that my foot is nicely aligned, and we'll just whiz our way down like this, all the way to the bottom. You got lost, Virginia, did you? I can't see where you got lost, or perhaps it was finding here, but we'll just stitch all the way down here. Whoops, I moved over a little bit there. Never mind, I'm sure we will be okay. So we're nearly at the end here. I'll probably have to change my bobbin as well. There we go. So, here we have. So I've got my stitching along both sides. Okay, so I'm going to put my slider on now. So I didn't have a swivel. I'm needing to put a swivel clasp on with this as well. So slider is the very first thing that goes on. And all we need to do is feed the end of, I'm just going to trim that bit of thread off. So this was a whole width of fabric. So I'm going to feed it over that bar that goes along the middle. Okay. So can you see that? I've done it like a buckle. I've fed the one end over that bar, and then I'm just going to hold it like so. I'm just going to pull enough through so that I can fold this back. So I'm going to fold that back like so. That neatens off that fabric, and then I'm just going to stitch across here. And I'm going to do it the other way because I've got white thread on the bottom, but I have got coloured thread on the top. I've got my variegated thread, so I can see where that is, just so that I can stitch across there. Now I am actually going to, rather than do a rectangle, which would be really nice, I'm just going to stitch backwards and forwards a couple of times, and then we can just trim off that little bit of thread there, and then at the top, because we don't want those bits, so that it looks nice and neat. Okay, so I've got my thread, my slider right on the end. Now what we need to do is feed onto this. I'm going to feed a swivel clasp. Okay, swivel through. Okay, so there is my slider. Now with my slider, when I feed it back through, if I've got my swivel clasp on wrong, I can always move that around. But what we need to do is make sure that this strap is nice and straight, because we are going to feed it back through the slider. Now I always have, this is like the wrong side, this is where I folded the fabric back. So if you have that facing upwards, it will be hidden between the layers of the strap. So now I'm going to feed it back through there and over that centre bar, like so. Okay, and there then is my slider to slide up. There's my swivel clasp, and there is my slider, and I can, and you can see there that the bit I folded back under there is in between my straps, so it's covered most of the time. So I've got nothing on one end and I've got a slider on the other end here. So there is my bag strap ready for when we get to the end. So let's go back now to, actually, you know what I will do now? Ignore that bit. What we will do now is just go to the tabs that the strap is going to fix to. Now we're going to do exactly the same with this. I folded that just like I showed you with the strap, folded them in and pressed, fold it in and pressed and over. And I'm just going to stitch down both of these sides here. So we'll stay on that same, there we are, straight under there. And because I'm being lazy, I am just going to follow through with the next one and we'll trim them apart. Oh, no, it didn't like going there. So let's just move that along just a little bit. That's better. Okay, so that's stitched down one side. So I will cut my thread there so that I can just come back down the other side. There we go. So down one and then onto the next one and down there. So we can cut that off and then we'll just trim these apart, trim those threads off and trim the back of there and there and those two little bits there. So there I have my tabs, and all I'm going to do now is I'm going to put my D-rings on. So I'm actually going to put it that way because I say I've got random thread, variegated thread on one side and white on the other. So we're going to put our tab, our D-ring on, and then just align those raw edges. And I'm just going to stitch across here to hold up. I'm going to move my needle over so that I'm stitching a little bit closer to the D-ring. So I've got the edge of my foot is up against where the D-ring is, and I'm just going to stitch across there, ow, and I'll just reverse a bit there and come off there. We'll trim those in a moment, and we will do the same with this one here. Insert it into the D-ring, fold it around and stitch across here fairly close, or as close as you can get to that. There we are, and back we go, close to the D-ring edge. And what it does, it just holds that D-ring in place rather than slipping down when it's in situ on your bag. Okay, so let's just trim that away. Just caught those little bits of thread, just so it still looks neat. But when you've got a patterned fabric, you don't really notice that. So there we have our two D-rings. So the first thing we're going to do, I'm going to set those aside for a moment with my handle, and let's take, you see we have pink faux leather on here now. I've also rounded those ends just to make it pretty. And what we're going to do now is attach our zip. Now, if you recall from last night, we had our zip made and we've got little tabs at the end. And the zip is actually I haven't got that that's better. The zip is actually an inch shorter than the length here, because what we're going to do is place this down, and it's going to be 1/2 inch of excess here, 1/2 inch at that side, and 1/2 inch at the other. So this is going to go down onto our top edge, and as I say, I've got a bit of excess wadding, just a little bit there. Okay, this is going to go right side down. I am going to move that so that it doesn't get in the way, and we can put a pin on here to hold that. So that goes in there. And then at this other edge, there should be 1/2 inch or so. That's it. 1/2 inch. Pin that in there. So there is our zip. You can see that little bit of excess fabric there and there. And that's what's going to give us a nice, neat finish. So having popped those in place, what we're going to do now is put our lining fabric on the top. So here is a piece of my lining fabric. We're going to place that right side down. And what we can do is line that up, take our pin out and repin it. You can do the same at the other end here if you want to. But I like to, once I've started stitching, I like to have this free so that I can keep watching that my zip is right up against that top edge and in line. So I'm going to open my zip a little bit more. That's better. And this point, you either pop your zipper foot on, or like I've just done, I've moved my needle right to the left. There we go. So that I can stitch. So let's just pop that down there. So let's just start stitching just a little bit. There we go. And now I can see where I'm stitching. So I can pop the lining fabric down, and I'll keep my finger on that first bit there. And then I'm still watching, so I do a little bit there. So when I see that's coming up, I'm lifting the presser foot, move the zipper pull out of the way, lay that zip down flat, and then I can pop the rest of the lining fabric on top and put my finger on here just to hold that and carry on stitching right to the other side. Okay. So we are coming up here. Now what you can do is stop. So I'm stopping just after my zip end. We'll just do a little reverse there so that our fabric is free. So that the fabric is free there. If you don't do that, not crucial, but it just helps a little bit. So then I'm going to pull the lining fabric back. Oh, hello, Catherine, Kathleen and Amanda and Yvonne. Nikki's still got snow. So I've pulled the lining back, and now I'm going to tuck that underneath the rest of the bag. And I'm going to pull that down. So I pull my lining fabric down so that it matches the bottom or the underneath of my wadding. And I'm now going to top stitch along here. So I'm going to shift that around. No, I'm not. No, I'm going to leave it that way because I'm going to top stitch. No, I am going to shift it round. That's it. So let's just put what we could do, or what we should do, is iron that piece. But I'm a little bit loath to move the camera around. So instead, I'm going to use my little presser tool again, just to flatten that lining so it's pulled totally away. And then we can go here, and as I say, we're going to top stitch. So I'm pulling, flip it this way, pull that lining all the way down so it lines up with the rest of the bag all the way around here. So back to the right side, and we can start stitching. So now I'm going to start stitching from just where this tab is. I'll ignore that bit there because that's going to go into the seam. So let's pop our foot down here. Just move my needle over a little bit. Those pins out of the way. Don't need that for a moment. I'll move those. That's it. So I'm grabbing onto that lining fabric because I need that to be at the bottom. Now with your flap, make sure that's down. It says that in the instructions. Make sure that's pointing down. You don't want to top stitch and leave that facing that way because we're going to stitch over there, and it helps to hold that in place really, really nicely. So I'm top stitching again with a longer stitch length because I like it to show. So when we go over that faux leather piece, we've got a nice little bit of stitching there. Let's just pull that down, make sure that's totally pulled out because we don't want any pleats on the back. And then I'll stop just after that little tab we have there. So there is our top stitching along the edge of the zip, and there's no thread there. Okay, so we've got one piece. So the next thing we want to do is place our other. So let's put this one down here. So this is our zipped outer, and we are going to place this one on top. So this is, let's just go back a little bit so you can see, that's it. So I have got the zipped outer. This one's going to go on top. But before we place that on top, let's put my scissors in the way. We need to put our tabs. So these tabs need to go on now. And let's see which one I'm going to have those there. So I'm going to place them raw edge lined up with the top above the zip. And let's do that there. And I'm going to place them 2 inches in from each side. So there's my little ruler. 2 inches. So there is one. And 2 inches from this side, there is the other. Okay, now I'm going to put a little clip, if I have a clip here, I do. So I'm going to put a clip first of all, just to hold that there, and a clip here. But I'm not going to leave them there. I am going to, let's see, I'm going to stitch across them, because stitching across just means we haven't got pins or clips in the way. So again, whoops, let's move our needle back to where it should be, and we can just stitch across here just to hold that in place. And then we'll do the same on this one. I'll take that off, and whoops, let's go, that's just pulling that up a little bit. So we'll just stitch across there, and they are nicely in place there. So they're just held, these two tabs here. So now we can place the zip down onto the top here. So here's my zip. This is, I'm going to open it a little bit actually, because we do want it open. And then I'm going to line up. So again, we're seeing a 1/2 inch piece here and a half here. And then also the rest of the bag is going to line up with the zip that way. And just line that up. So that is just there. And whoops, that's not right. Let's just pop that. So that will be right in the center. I can see that's lined up for me now. So again, we can pop a pin in here just to hold that, because we do need lining fabric here as well. So let's just pop that down and pop a pin in this side as well. Okay, so I will be taking that one out. So then we do need lining. We're making our zip sandwich, so I'm putting my lining fabric right side down onto the top. So what you can see is you've got your back piece here, you've got your zip here, and your lining. We're doing a zip sandwich again. So as we did before, I'm going to start just here. So we'll line that up, take that pin out and pop it back in. So it's holding the lining and all those layers together. Here I'm going to leave this open so that I can see where I am stitching. So let's just move that over again. There we go. So zipper foot again, which you've probably still got on, and place that under the foot there. And we're going to start in just a little bit so that we've got that slight excess there. Take that pin out, because now that's anchored. and we can, where's that? There's a tab there. Let's just pull that zip over a little bit. Make sure the zip's lined up with that top edge and the lining fabric on top. So again, I'm holding that down. If you want to pop a pin in there, that's absolutely fine. So I can go a little bit further along, and then we'll move the zip out of the way. I suppose I could have brought it the whole way along there, but I haven't. So let's just pop my hand under here, just moving that zip pull out of the way so that I can see the rest of my zip and lining fabric. Hold that down. That way I know that's held in place and my lining fits up to the end, and we'll get to where the pin is, and I know then that the zip is held in place. Okay, so that's stitched all along there. I can now open that out, and again, let's just get my roller and just roll that along there, just to open that out, or open it out and press it, and then I'm going to flip it over. So there's my lining pulled out, there's my outer pulled out, and for the time being I'm going to zip that up so that again I can just roll along that edge like so, and along this edge here like so, and then I know that that's all nicely ready for me to stitch along this outer edge here. Looks quite pretty just like that, doesn't it? So let's pull that lining down so that I can see that that lines up with my other edges, and I know that's pulled out completely. Let's just have a look here. So yes. So on this, okay, it's similar to, we want the, did I have that there? There we are. I've got the stitch down as well, so they are pointing towards the zip. So let's just pull that lining out there, and then I'm going to start again just here. I don't think my zip is going to be in the way. So we are there. I'm just having my stitch length a little bit longer. So I'm just top stitching along the edge, and I've got my zip pulls facing down towards the zip, and I'm going to stitch over that as well. So we can just check, pull that lining, make sure that's all the way down, and carry on stitching. That's done. Just pulling that down again. Oh, a bit of thread there. Let's just trim that out of the way and pull that down, and we're going to stitch over that tab as well, and then carry on along there and stop just before that excess ½ inch to each side. Okay, so you can see I've got lining there and underneath each one. At this point, open that zip because we're going to need that to be able to pull through. Then let's pull one side up, so we're putting outer fabric on top of outer fabric and lining fabric under lining fabric. So there is a picture in the instructions for that, and these two will line up, these will line up, these will line up. Now, rather than usually we have straight sides and boxed corners, we sew down the sides, we go across the bottom and leave a gap, and up the other side. Because we've got curved corners, we're going to stitch all in one go. So we are going to leave a gap in the lining. So what we're going to do first of all is line up these where the zip is. So where we've got the zip in the middle there, we can push that whichever way you like, and just make sure that these two seams line up like so. So just push that. I'm pushing it downwards towards the outer fabric, And once I have that in place, I'm going to put a clip there or a pin, and then I'll go to the other side and I can push that down and line up that edge just there where the two meet, because we want them to be lined up perfectly, because that's where the edge of the bag meets the zip. And then these should line up your corners, and just if you pull that there, you can see that lines up and around there. So we can start, we'll leave a gap in the middle of the lining, probably about 5 inches or so, and we'll start stitching to this side. So I just make sure that all lines up around here. So just pull that over a little bit like that, and then at the bottom as well. And I'm going to start stitching about there. So we're back to our 1/4 inch seam allowance. So let's just get that there. And I'm going to start off and just reverse as well. So just reverse just a little bit. And I'm making sure this still is all lined up here and all the way around. And then I'm going to start stitching and going around that curve. Whoops, come off a little bit there, I think. I might just cut the thread there and go back. This won't show when we need to come in a little bit further. There we go. So let's just get that there. And if I take it a little bit slower than I was, and it doesn't matter if you come in and do your lining seam allowance a little bit bigger, because what you'll find is it fits the bag a little bit better if the lining is smaller. So by taking a bigger seam allowance, you can see there I'm taking a little bit more. But when we come to this, where the zip is, and here, let's just come in a little bit closer. I'm going to 1 inch, and sometimes just slightly less. So let's just get that across there, because what we don't want to do is catch in. Let's just make sure that's lining up. There we are. Make sure it doesn't catch in those zip tabs. So just go slowly over there, line that edge up nicely, and then carry on with our 1/4 inch seam allowance around here. Line this edge up around here. I think I can feel that I should have a new needle. So we're going around. I am going through 2 layers of, well, at least 2 layers of wadding. Okay, so around that corner, that curved corner, and we will carry on around with our 1/4 inch seam allowance. As I say, if you do your seam allowance a little bit bigger, it only means the bag is going to be the tiniest bit smaller. You would never ever notice. So around that corner as well. And then just hold that side so that we can see that that is all lined up. The worst that can happen is that you have a gap in your seam because they weren't lined up. So I'm now coming back up to where the zip meets. So again, make sure you only have your 1/4 inch there, because that little gap that we had, so I'm making sure my raw edges line up here on my lining. And again, I'm just doing the tiniest bit more than a 1/4 inch, and just coming around that curve a little bit slower. And remember, we're leaving a gap here of about 5 inches or so. Okay, so I'm going to reverse there. Now, something that can help as well, so I have my gap. If we fold back our seam allowance for when we are closing this gap, and again, having my little roller here, I can roll that across like so, and it's like I am pressing it. Okay, so let's just press that there. What I can do is flip it over now, and I'm going to fold the other side back, lining up with the side that, oops, that you can't see that. Oops. There we are. Okay, so I've pressed that bottom one back. So then this top one here, I am lining up with that already folded back. Now it will spring open a little bit, but that basic fold is already there. Okay, so let's just fold that along there. Okay, so I've just done that. As you can see, that's just folded back on those raw edges. So now I'm going to put my hand in here, and remember we'd opened the zip so that I can pull. I'm not going into that pocket. There we go. So I'm just going to pull from the corner. I'm not going to cut into those corners. All right. Clip into them because the curve is quite shallow and it's not going to make any difference. And it could actually weaken the bag if we clipped into those corners. So let's pull that little bit out first of all. Just carefully just ease the rest of the outer through that gap. And because we backstitched at the ends of the gap, just means that that is going to, so let's just pull that through. I'm just opening that a little bit more. It's going to be that little bit stronger and won't rip open. Okay, so there we have, oh Trisha, oh no, oh yes, what have we done? No, I've got my pocket, which is I've gone wrong. My pockets, just turn your pocket through, but just I put the lining on the wrong way. Okay, so hand back in through that gap in the lining, push your fingers around the edge. Now this does two things. It just makes sure, so I'm just pushing my fingers out here. It just tests to see that you've caught in all those edges and you haven't got any gaps. Now, if I had missed it, there we go. Now, can you see the end of that zip? You see how neat that is? I'm impressed with myself there. So we've got a neat end, and the end here is really neat. So the same here. That's it. So that was that little, that ½ inch left at the end. Oh, got a bit of thread there. That's it. Oh, that's gone. Just gives me a neat finish. Let's see, just push that out a little bit. There we are. A neat finish to the side there. Okay. So now knowing or seeing that all of this, or push that out a little bit more. There we go. So just push around all those outer edges so you get some nice curves near the bottom. Now we can go to our lining. And when I just pull at the lining at the opening, hopefully we can just tuck that in, and your lining or the gap is going to pull together neatly, all lined up. So now all I'm going to do is stitch across there. Just going to clip those little bits of thread away there, not one there. And I'm just going to stitch very closely. You could stitch this by hand if you wanted to, but I'm going to stitch close to the edge. What I should do, I have still got my coloured thread on here, but I should, if I was selling this, I would, let's just go, just reverse there. I would change to a cream or a white thread, so that it's creamy on both sides, as opposed to, that's it, let's just tuck that little bit in there so that still lines up nicely. There we are, and then just pulling at that side, just so that I'm lining that up. Another side, I'm stitching very close to the edge, and I've just gone past where it's stitched and just reverse there to hold that nice and firmly. There we go. A little bit of thread caught in there. A little bit here. That's it. And then the little tester, always, always pull it just to make sure that that is all closed the whole way along. Then we can push the lining into the bag. Let's just open that up a little bit more. So let's push that out into the extremities, so into those curved corners. I even grab hold of it then with the lining in there and then push into that other one. Now that actually fits nice and snugly. That's quite lovely. Rather than having all gathers, you can see there, that fits in there really, really nicely. Okay. And then we can close the top. And because we top stitch, these stand up nicely to finish off our bag. So the only thing we need to do now is put our straps on. I haven't brought my cam press up here, but we can put a cam snap on there. If you're feeling really brave, you could actually stitch a buttonhole and have a button on here so that you can close it like that. But if you're making your own and you don't have faux leather, you could actually just make a little tab, a long tab, and you could put a magnetic clasp on there as well if you wanted to. So the next thing we need to do is attach our strap. So what we are going to do is, it's only one end we need to do this, so just make sure it's the right way. So there is my slider. So I'm going to tuck this into the D-ring. So I'm just inserting that into the other end of the D-ring there. I'm going to fold a little bit back just to neaten it off and then pop that down onto the strap itself. Okay, so I fed that round. There it's the raw edges turned back. Line that up with the strap like so, and then I'm just going to stitch. Now I'm going to stitch from the other side actually, because I want the coloured thread. If you're stitching, there we go, let's just see where that's coming. If you're stitching with the same colour thread top and bottom, which I more often than not do, I'm just going to reverse across here as well, then it wouldn't matter at all. You can, and I would probably stitch from the back because I can see where I folded it over. But I just judge that so that I can have my variegated thread on the top and my cream or my white thread on the bottom. Just clip those away. So because we have our slider on here, and because I have a swivel clasp, I'm just going to attach the swivel clasp onto the other side, onto the other D-ring, and there it's made. Just like that. Could you put a tab on the front and one on the back? Yeah, absolutely could. If you want to put a pocket on front and back, absolutely could as well. So the only thing I wanted to have something different on the front and the back, but it went through my mind. I could have had a pocket on both sides, and you could even, let's just see, as long as you put your pocket on first, the outer pocket, you could have a pocket on this side as well as that outer zipped one as well. So the sky is the limit. The world is your oyster. You can do, oh, my chair is just, oh, oh, my chair. Now my knees are clicking as well. My chair has gone a little bit wobbly. I don't know what is going on here. Lose weight, Trisha. New Year's resolution. Okay, so there is your handle with the slider. Okay, so we've got our bag handle there. We can slide that as long as we want it now. All right, so in the kits which are not on the website yet, I'll tell you about that in a minute. I'm just going to feed this up just a little bit more because it's easier to handle. So let's take that right down to here. So that will make, that's still a nice length of strap. like that with the slider all the way down. So yes, so if you, where are we? There we go. If you would, if you wanted to put one of these front pockets on the back, absolutely do. If you want to put internal pockets inside your bag, you absolutely can. Just pop those on before you put your lining together. It is very versatile. You can do just what you like. You like the idea of the strap holder one on each side? Yep, absolutely can. So what I was going to say, the size is, I did say yesterday, I think it is, it's about 10 inches at the top, 11 to 12 across there, and deep it's about 9. So it's about 10 across, 12 at the bottom, 9 deep there. But with the technique, you can make whatever size you like. So you've got the templates, and what you can do if you want to make it wider, you just make all this outer shape, the main shape. The pocket is just a smaller portion of it. So it's easy enough to do that. Your zip needs to be the same as your cut size here, because you will be trimming off about 1 inch. So as long as it's 1 inch bigger than the top here, or the same size as, you can trim your zip down. The pocket, the zip needs to be however long you want your zip to be, and you cut your bag, or you cut your aperture to fit your zip. So, you know, if you want to have square bottoms, you can. I just thought it'd be quite nice to have a slimmer line one. There's still a lot of space in there, even though it's just a flat bag there, but there's plenty, you could get plenty in there. You absolutely could. But if you like very big, absolutely fine. I have made some big ones in the past, which is why I thought I'd go for medium-sized on this occasion. So there will be some kits in the black or this one here, but the website. So we will have these 2 different colorways. The website, I won't put them on till tomorrow. The website is being looked at now. It's being reviewed. And I have heard they've been working on it today. They have moved all of my products over onto a new server. Now, from my point of view, or from me trying different things, it is working a lot quicker for me. The only problem is it's not allowing me to upload any images onto the website. So when I went to put the bag on there, it wasn't having it. So something's not right. It's quicker than it was by being put onto a new server. Not that I could have done anything about that at all. But what I'm thinking I will be doing is I will put posts in the group, and it will just, rather than going through the website, it will just be a payment via PayPal, like you quite often do, to trisha@hotmail.com. But I will put pictures. I may get it done tonight after my dinner, but it may be not until tomorrow morning. So it won't be on the website as usual. Because we're in the group, it will be a special price to you. So there's no need to put, there's nowhere to put any codes, is there? So I will discount it for the time that it will go on the website at the higher price. So I haven't worked it out yet as to what it will be. Oh, thank you, Tony. And thank you, Patricia. So that's how it's going to work at the minute. Oh, thank you, Jack. Jack loves this first demo of 2025. So as I say, because this was my 3rd design, very last minute, I have got 2 more in the pipeline ready for February and March. Saying that, you never know, when it comes to it, something else might come to mind. Oh, thank you, Jack. If something else comes to mind, that will jump ahead of it. But I've always got a couple in hand, should I need them quickly. So I thank you very, very much for joining me again tonight. It just made it a little bit more leisurely, splitting it down into 2. I'm sorry about the fact that there are, I did a start-off video, didn't I, yesterday for the Anthea bag, and had to finish that, but I had said a few bits and pieces, so the take 2 starts from there, and this is the part 2, so there are 3 videos, and thank you, Christine. There's 3 videos. There's also 3 PDFs to download, so don't forget to download, 1 being the instructions, and the other 2 are templates 1 and 2. Ciao for now, Tony. So, as I say, thank you for joining me tonight. It has been my absolute pleasure to have your company. I shall be with you. Now, I don't think I will tomorrow night on the So Totally Trisha page, but I will be here on Friday because I haven't put a menu up this week either. Oh, my goodness. I will be demoing on Friday on the So Totally Trisha page at 6:30, but we might have a break tomorrow. Back next Thursday, I have in mind some special Trisha's treasure trove boxes. Oh God, push my teeth in, hey? Trisha's treasure trove boxes, but I haven't put them together yet. So that will be the following Thursday. But tomorrow will give me a chance to work out. Thank you, Virginia. Thank you, Janet. So I'm going to love you and leave you now, and I will see you on Friday. Bye for now.